When people give that term of your world turns upside down in an instant, I never really knew what that meant until it happened to me. Hi, my name is Jennifer Ginn, and I am here sharing my story.
Hey, my name is Jeremy Ginn, and we've been attending Redeemer for several years. About a year and a half ago, I made a very costly decision. I walked away from my family, and I had an affair. And the truth is, I had no plans of ever coming back.
I can't even put into words. Only a person who has experienced knows the million emotions that run through your mind. How, why, when. The question that everyone asks is, what is people going to think of me? What's going to happen with kids?
I found myself just going through this dark period. And as I saw my family, or my kids, I should say, from time to time, my oldest, Micah, would just ask me, "Daddy, when are you coming back home?" And I really didn't have an answer. I was drinking heavily, and to the point where, matter of fact, one night, I can't account for 2 to 3 hours that I was out. I woke up on the side of the road having no idea where I was, and I was literally out of control.
Everyone has a choice. Any situation, any battle that you face, you either can run from God or you can run to God. I prayed for her. I knew she needed God just as much as anyone else. That God loved her and she was hurting. And I still pray for this to this day, that God will bring people into her life so she can know Christ too.
And in the midst of this, I was frustrated because I'd go see my kids, and Jennifer had this weird peace about her, and all I had was anger, and so I would lash out at her.
The days went on, the weeks went on, the months went on. I started to lose hope. I didn't think that things were going to turn around.
Christmas Eve, I went out for breakfast with my kids. And that's when Jenny told me she had filed for divorce. And by that time, I was still so angry that I didn't care. I cried. But there was just this emptiness that I could not explain. An emptiness that no matter what I tried, alcohol, dating, none of it masked the pain that I felt. I was empty and I was out of control. It seemed like everywhere I went, there were Christians. I went to the apartment complex that I looked to rent a place from. The leasing officer was a Christian. The gas station I went to, just in passing conversation, the gas attendant was a Christian. And it seemed like everywhere I went, I just couldn't get away from it. So I spent all this time running away from God, running away from my family, trying to prove that I didn't need anyone. And I'll never forget my son Caleb, who was 8, sat down next to me on the couch one night. And he had his mother's iPhone, and he said, "Daddy, there's something I need to tell you, and I don't know how to say it. So this song will say it." And he began to play a song by Brandon Heath called "Love Never Fails." And he sat and listened to the song with tears in his eyes. And as he was finished, he looked at me and he said, "Daddy, without love, you're bankrupt." And that ripped at my heart, but I was still so far gone that I knew I couldn't come back. And about an hour later, my grandmother called, and out of the blue, she just said, Jeremy, did you go to church on Sunday? And I said, Grandma, I haven't been to church in about 6 months. And her voice started to break up. And she said, Jeremy, don't you know that there's nothing you can do, absolutely nothing, that Jesus would not forgive you for? And I remember going to Jimmy and sharing what I thought. And I remember saying to Jimmy, even if I wanted to go home, I don't know that I could. And he pulled out a familiar verse from the story of the prodigal son. And he said, it reminds me of the prodigal son when the scripture says, when he had spent all. I had spent everything I had.
When my heart won't make a sound, when I can't turn back around, when the sky is falling down, nothing is greater than this, greater than this.
Well, that night I walk in and Caleb kind of comes out of the bedroom and I look at him and I say, Caleb, what would you say if Daddy said, he wants to come home? And I'll never forget the smile on his face.
No matter what you're facing in your life, if you need to forgive someone, you need to do it. Because it's not affecting the other person, it's affecting you. And by God's grace, I still love Jeremy.
And one of the verses that I've just really taken hold of, it's just the first part of the verse, but it's from the book of Jude, and it's actually the doxology where it says, now to him who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you faultless before the Father with exceeding joy. And I have really taken hold of that and I ask God daily to help me walk close with him, to help me be a leader and a lover of my family, and to be an example. There's no mask that you're wearing that's worth it. Jesus really, really, really is waiting to forgive you and to hold you close in his arms.
Love does not run, love does not hide, love does not keep locked inside. Love is the river that flows through. Love is the arms that are holding you. And love is a place you will fly to. Love never fails you.
And I don't care, where you are, what you've done. Jesus is waiting to meet you today. You may feel like you can't turn things around, and it may take some time. But I'm going to tell you that God is there, and He is good. And I thank God for His grace, for resurrecting my faith, for restoring my family, and for making things new.